Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to a new edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional who happens to have a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight, we're going to discuss something that impacts all of us. Actually, it was a concern I had during Trump 1.0 administration. And now in Trump 2.0, it is definitely a problem. Um, how the United States is viewed um, by everyone, it impacts all of us. All my life, our country, and all your lives as well, our country has been known as the leader of the free world. That is our brand, or at least it used to be, um, until Trump 2.0, that is. I guess when you threaten your allies with takeover, tariffs, and worse, people begin to look at you a little bit differently, you think? There's something about being a member of NATO and have your closest trade partner declare that you will become the 51st state of the United States. It kind of puts everyone on notice. So tonight, we're going to talk with some PR pros and policy folks on what can we possibly do once the Trump administration is gone to rebuild trust with our allies and even more importantly among American citizens. Is it too late? Is it even possible? We're going to talk about it. So up first, I have Noemi Lejean Perez. She is the CEO of Eco Diversity from Windsor Hills, California. She is a political strategist with 30 years experience at the intersection of public policy and public relations. Her portfolio includes Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, and political campaigns. Welcome back to the show, Noemi, my soror.
Sure. Thank you for welcoming me back and putting forth this conversation. I
Yeah,
think we're all in the middle of trying to sort things out. Yes.
right. Really sort things out. That's to say the least. All right. And next up, we have Tanya McKenzie. She is the founder and CEO of Sand and Shores, a communications, marketing, and sports media firm. Tanya is a public relations expert specializing in storytelling, reputation management, and increasing brand awareness. She currently serves as the VP of the Black Public Relations Society in Los Angeles, Black Tech PR, and past president of the North Redondo Beach Business Association. Welcome to the show, Tanya, my soror.
Hey, Z5. Super happy to be here with you ladies. An incredible amount of wealth, a wealth of knowledge and expertise in this field. This should be good.
Yes, yes. And we have, how did that happen? And we have, as a last minute addition of our a last minute addition to the show, our Sigma brother, Daniel Smith II. Daniel is a creative entrepreneur. He thrives at the intersection of business culture and community. He is the CEO of Awkward Media Group. He is the 29th Florida State Director of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And he is a U.S. Air Force veteran. Welcome to the show, my frat brother, Daniel.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you and ready to get things started.
Okay. So listen, guys, tonight's show, I don't know what that I don't know what that was. Anyways, tonight's show literally wasn't planned to be a blue and white family affair show, but it is what it is. So I see we have one of our sorors in the chat. She says, "Good evening, everyone. Hey, Loretta." Okay. And Loretta is from Michigan. She now lives in North Carolina. And Shelly Howie is a Michigander. Okay. So listen, Okay, guys, let's get into it. Noemi, I'm going to start with you. And this question is going to be really a round robin that for each of you to answer. Okay, so let's pretend, woosah, let's pretend Trump has peacefully, operative word peacefully, left office. The Dems take over the House and the Senate decisively. No contested seats, nothing but blue skies, right? Meanwhile, our allies are seething from the bullying that they've experienced in Trump 2.0. Excuse me. They're skeptical if they can ever trust the United States again due to what they have experienced. What needs to be done communications wise? Noemi, you first.
Firstly, again, thank you for having me on your show and to discuss this particular issue. Um, I think first and foremost, we need to center ourselves in how to even frame what we are experiencing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I refer to it as a neo-deconstructionist era. Okay. And to that point, and to the point to your question, what they're going to see and what we will be forced to engage in is reconstruction. So our nation is going to have to go through a reconstruction, both for our federal government and our perception externally.
Yeah.
Internally, and that piece has to be discussed. There are two parties. Um, I would say that for Democrats, and I'm speaking as one, as one that works within my party as a strategist, I think our party as Democrats has been undergoing a deconstructive process within for the past several years, whether we want to look at it and pay attention to it, right? That deconstructive process has been destructive to our party and has had the consequence of turning off voters,
Yes.
a factor in why we have the current administration hammering the last nail right to that cross. So bottom line, reconstruction will be the end game or where we have to start. Right now we're just in deconstruction mode.
Mm. Okay, Tanya, your thoughts on that? Same question.
Whoever decides to put their hat in the ring and become the next leader of what was considered the free world, uh, depending on what they want the relationship to be, because unfortunately we don't have control over what happens in the next election. All right. So that's the first part. Who gets elected, how they get elected, what help they get, and what they want their image and their relationship with the United States, with other countries to be. The first step is obviously going to have to be listening, shutting up and listening. We've always been the country that told other people what to do and how things are going to work. If we want to have a relationship, a good relationship with other countries, there's going to have to be some level of shutting up and listening instead of demanding what others are going to do. And from a traditional, calm standpoint, it's listening, acknowledging where you've messed up, it is letting them know how you're going to fix it. And then it is staying the course. Do we even have things in place to do that with even our allies, the people that we're supposed to be getting along with? They're not trusting us. How would I know? They're having conversations outside and around us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you build relationships? You have to start by listening, acknowledging there's a problem, and acknowledging your part in them.
Mm-hmm.
Just think we are not in a position anymore at this point to demand anything from anyone because the pedestal in which we have stood on has
Mm-hmm.
broken. This has to demand anything from anyone because the pedestal in which we have stood on has
Mm-hmm.
broken. This has
I don't
to
know what happened.
demand anything from anyone because the pedestal in which we have stood on has broken. This has
No, what that is.
to demand anything.
Huh. I don't know what that happened to us in another show. You can tell, folks, this is live. It's definitely live. Brother Daniel, your thoughts on that same subject about we've got blue skies and we're trying to rebuild trust. What are some of the things that we need to do?
I mean, we have to reposition ourselves as the stronghold leader that we've been, because we've kind of fallen off that mark. We've used it as a way to, use even citizenship in this country now is how much money do you have?
Yeah.
And so we've got to reposition ourselves and let them know that we're still welcoming and open in all, that we are that melting pot still to this day, and allow them to see that we have to rebuild the arrangements and strongholds that we had, because right now I couldn't tell you who our dedicated allies are, because we've consistently based it off of what they can do for us rather than being the leader in innovation and those things that we've always done. But now we're just kind of one of those things of, I don't know. We can't even figure it out. I don't know what our brand is, where we stand, where our position is with the, our allies, the things that we're willing to support them on. Right now, it seems like we just do whatever Israel is kind of doing. And we're stuck in this stronghold of, hey, if Israel's going to do this or shift this way or do it that way, then we're going to follow suit. Or, whatever these powerful leaders are going to do, if they're going to speak and they're going to act, then we're going to stand with them and do it that way. And we have to shift from that focus. So whoever that new leader is has to come in and says, this is our stance. This is where we're going to be at. We're not going to falter from that. We're going to stick to it and allow ourselves to use that as our guiding point.
I personally think that we're just in a whole lot of trouble. I don't know. I'm serious. Yes, before I sent you guys an email about coming on the show, I was feeling real enthusiastic, and then there was some news that hit the news, and I was just my it was like somebody popped the air out of my balloon, and I just felt like giving up. And I do realize that is part of the Trump strategy, is to overwhelm you, get you exhausted, and make you want to throw up your hands and give up. And if that is truly his strategy, they are superb at it, because it is exhausting. Even for those of us who just really believe in this work, I don't know. Noemi, you're often on Capitol Hill working with one of our sorors, a Congresswoman, Kamlager Dove.
Kamlager Dove.
Kamlager Dove. Who's a pin twister.
Let me say this. And there's an expression that all politics are local, right?
Yes.
Everything, the rubber hits the road. So the real activities, right, are being felt at the local level.
Right.
So there's one thing about the activity that is happening within the Capitol, right, in Congress.
Yes.
And I think we need to see that as its own separate entity. On the ground, we are looking at NGOs losing their funding.
Yes.
We're looking at state governments, and because that's part of the work that I do as well, concerned about ensuring that they are perceived as aligning with federal regulations, whatever they are, lest they be threatened with losing their federal funding. On the ground, our universities, right, UCLA, other universities, are being sued and attacked by the federal government.
Yes.
On the ground, our school districts, right, are looking at losing money. In Nevada, the state government issued a notice the other day about the number of school teachers they've already fired or suspended in response to the Charlie Kirk situation, before the school season has even started.
And aren't they already short-staffed on teachers?
By about 200.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So rubber hits the road. What is happening on the ground is really what we need to focus on. right?
Mhm.
And not lose sight of that, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, I liken what is happening in DC. Think of God, Gladiator, the movie, right?
Mhm. Yes.
To your point, Pam, Trump every day he gets up in the middle of his ring.
Mhm.
Let the games begin. Who's
Yeah.
gonna be biggest warrior? And
Mhm.
he or she who makes the biggest stink of the day or for the day or sways the biggest hurrah through social media or media is the winner. And
Mhm.
so once you realize that is what is happening in DC and you disconnect and say, wait a minute, right? Let's focus on the ground.
Mhm.
We stop being a ploy in that game. Okay. It is overwhelming. It's every day. We're on his TV show.
Whew.
Congress is part of it. And
Yes.
so it's not just we should absolutely support our Congress members. We should absolutely call, email, right?
Mhm.
But let's not get caught up in everything that's happening. Again, think of what has happened after the Charlie Kirk assassination, which was horrible.
Yes.
We have lost track of the Epstein files.
Yeah. They're trying
Of
to.
Israeli funding, right?
Yeah.
Of all of these important things that are happening in real time.
Yeah.
And so I want to encourage us to sort of encapsulate what is happening in DC as that, right? And sort of get ourselves grounded at what is
Mhm.
happening to us on the
Mhm.
ground and
Mhm.
getting ourselves prepared for the November 2026 midterm elections.
Oh. You, Tanya, you had wanted to say something? Go ahead. You're muted.
I actually want to piggyback on what Noemi said when she's talking about staying focused. I think that's a really big deal right now is that we need to stay focused. And
Mhm.
what I mean is thinking bigger than the moment,
Mhm.
thinking bigger than in that exact time what he is trying to overwhelm us with because we're losing sight of things. The plus in all this, as
Mhm.
crazy as things are, if we look, somebody I had a good conversation the other day and said, Black women should feel kind of honored right now because we are a big target in what's going on. And you're
Yes.
a target when you're winning. Okay. You're a target when you're winning. If you're losing, you're not a target. No one talks about you. That's why no one talks about the red states that are sinking in education, in healthcare, in maternal deaths. No one's talking about that. Why? Because they're already losing. The people that he's targeting are the ones that are winning. And what do I mean by that? We're having these anti-intellectual conversations right now. And I've been on this because it has boggled my mind for so long why they keep pushing trade schools on us, why they keep pushing college is a scam on us. And I am so baffled because even folks that did not go to college
Mhm.
always told us your education is important. That's the one thing you will always have.
Mhm.
Now some of us are starting to repeat this rhetoric. Well, the people that are spewing the rhetoric are educated. So why are they telling Black people to stop sending your kids to college?
Mhm.
Who is the most educated right now? Who is entrepreneurially on the come up right now? It is Black women. And when we talk about the brand, in the
Mhm.
United States, we were never really a part of that brand. We were the workers, we were caretakers, we were stereotypes as the mammies. We were
Mhm.
not even included in the economics of the United States. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, we got the audacity to run for vice president and be the most educated and things of that nature. So when I say stay focused, and I
Mhm.
mean stay focused, like Noemi is saying, focus on the things that matter. Focus on the big things. Focus on who he's attacking or what he's deflecting from. So, yes, the Epstein files, that is important because it says a
Right.
lot about this country. It says
Yes.
a lot about this country.
Yes, it
The
does.
wealthiest, the strongest are taking advantage of not just women, but
No.
children. They're trying to change laws in states to make it legal to have sex with young people.
Yes.
Yeah,
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about H1B1 visas. They ain't got nothing to do with us.
No, it doesn't.
They ain't got nothing
not
to
at
do
all.
with us. So I think what she's saying is hugely important in that we need to stay focused. And if we continue to do the things that we need to do to keep ourselves elevated and above the fray, at the end of the day, when this mess gets cleaned up and there's blue skies, like you said, right? We do still have a path forward and we're still on the uprise because it's so funny that you will hear, leadership now, Donald Trump and his people say things like, education and we're not that smart and get rid of the board of education.
Yes.
They end up
Yes.
praising someone that dropped out of what is it, junior college, couldn't stay a semester,
Right.
and causes conflict on college campuses and
Yes.
said college is a scam. So it
Yes.
can't be both. It can't be both. It can't be we don't need college and oh my God, we're dumb. We should be the epitome of the world when it comes to education. Like pick your poison.
Right.
We need to stay focused because he's mucking up the waters, and that is what someone is going to have to clean up once it's time for those blue skies to roll back around.
Right. Daniel, you said
Go ahead.
something to me in a chat about this subject, and you said, well, it started where the country started off wrong and we never corrected certain things. And I even found a meme to that. Explain what you mean about that, because you had some strong feelings about this whole even possibility of changing this narrative around.
I mean, I think it goes to, and I wrote something down while Tanya was speaking, and it says, America sells Black creativity as part of its brand while ignoring Black suffering. The culture is exported, but communities are exploited.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is because, I mean, you have to look at it. Us as Black Americans have continuously saved America from within. Just like now, everybody's like, oh, where is the African Americans at with protests and everything? Oh, no, we sitting in silence now because it's not happening to us in the way that you thought it was going to. Now your communities are being affected. Now you're seeing what we've always seen in the fact of, a lot of these cuts that are happening, they're not hurting us in that sense because now people who are dealing with food stamps and those things, there's more white Americans on food stamps than it is Black Americans.
That is a fact.
And now y'all are struggling because you're sitting here trying to say, oh, well, where are y'all at now? Oh, okay. Y'all are the ones that can't go to the grocery stores and get the products and the items that you're used to being able to get. Our white farmers are struggling now in those countries because of the tariffs and those things that are being there. But, the U.S. constantly sells itself as a beacon of liberty. But
right.
While simultaneously it marginalizes our communities here at home. So we have to realize that until America stands up and says, these are our mishaps, these are the things that we've continuously done and ignored, then we can move forward. We're supposed to be the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be united on one common front, but yet we've never gotten to that point. And now a lot of people that voted for, our current leadership are getting slapped in the face. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, oh, well, I voted for him. I thought he was going to do differently. He showed you who he was.
Always
and
has.
You constantly ignored that, and then you want to now try to hold him accountable. When he cut government jobs, I've seen more posts from white Americans saying, Trump, I voted for you, and now my wife just lost her job with the VA. He told you that was going to happen. Just like he told us he didn't read Project 2025. But yet everything within that playbook is being enacted and instilled into America today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I want to read this comment from Renee Schalk. Commissioner, that's to you, Tanya. Have you noticed that they have lowered the standards to get FBI jobs or DOJ or ICE jobs? You don't have to have a degree now. Nope. And that's something. And look at the big bonuses they're getting if you are with ICE. Is it 50,000?
Right.
Something crazy like that.
But I think that is a play into we can just hire our people, our uneducated people, to do our bidding, not necessarily be excellent at their job. Look what we're dealing with Kash Patel and the rest of his cabinet.
Oh,
they are a whole hot mess. So now that you've made it, that you don't need a degree for jobs that always needed a degree, okay, that's fine. Take that. It should be mandatory to take it off applications. It should be mandatory to take off whatever is going on with your legal situation, because our president has felonies. So if you can hold the highest office in the land, being
A felon,
and you
34
have
times.
the highest job in the land in law enforcement, and you can work for that agency without having a degree,
Mm-hmm.
you want to hire your friends. Well, we're also in that pool, because now there is no DEI. So when
Right,
I come through the door with all of my qualifications above and beyond your homeboy that ain't got no degree and ain't been to college, we
right.
need to have this conversation. We need to make sure that we are being heard in a way that you set the rules. And that's the thing that they forget. They set the rules, but we always find a way to exceed expectations. And I don't think they ever see that coming, which is a problem with mediocre people that
Mhm,
don't think and don't process information. There's no critical thinking skills going on here. And they
mhm,
like it that way. So they can just tell people what to do instead of them actually thinking and having to process information and being like, oh, well, maybe this isn't the best way to do this. No, it's not. That's why our economy is turning to cow manure right now.
mhm, mhm. Absolutely. Listen, guys. Okay, so you've already mentioned Charlie Kirk, and today is his memorial and all of that good stuff. So that Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance has passed in Congress, but it could not have passed without Democrats. The Republicans always, always, always hold the party line with the exception of the Epstein files. That's the only exception that I can think of thus far in Trump 2.0 that they have that you've gotten some people to break off.
Mhm.
Now, how can we make our allies and even more importantly, American people trust the United States government again when the ones who are now in charge, pretending that it's the Dems and the independents are in charge, are double-minded?
Hmm.
Because we act double-minded now, because Democrat we cannot, why is it we cannot hold it together? Is there anything we can do to change that behavior in the Democratic Party? And we ain't got long. How long? Not long. We gotta people gotta be on it like now. Daniel?
I mean, I'm gonna say that vote, it just exposed the division within the Democratic caucus, and it shows that we are not on one accord, and that we need to figure out how to get back there. I mean, many people opposed, some abstained, but for those Democrats who did it, I mean, look how long it took us to get an MLK Day. It took us to get a George Washington Carver Day, but yet this guy has not even been in the ground 2 weeks yet, or even put in the
We ain't
ground
in the
yet, and
ground.
he already has a Remembrance Day. But the more horrifying part of that is they did the same thing. They killed Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
They killed Fred Hampton.
They
They
kill everybody.
killed all of our leaders that came out and was outspoken. The FBI and those agencies had something to do with the demise of them, but yet they didn't get their remembrance days when that happened.
Mm.
You know, I want to take it back really quick to leadership, and you were talking about blue skies before, and I want to. I'm hoping and praying we get to see blue skies again someday. But
Mhm,
I spoke at a conference in Poland about 2 years ago,
mhm,
and we were very. We had a very open conversation about what Poland
mhm,
and Poland's government would like to see from the United States.
mm,
It didn't happen, how they would how they could be harmed, right?
mhm,
Um, so when Trump got elected, my friends and peers in Poland reached out to me and was like, "This isn't good." And
mm.
without being hyperbolic and over the top about it, it was pretty upsetting, because I think you really want to think, he can't be that bad. He has
Yeah.
that bad to where not only will he harm, the least in our communities, in our country, but allow for other countries to get hurt by his actions, and they're very clear that if he gets elected, something's going to happen to us. And what happened last week was that drones over Poland.
Yes. Several. I mean, it's happened several times. And Ukraine, ever since that Alaska visit, they got attacked worse than ever before.
Right.
I mean, it's always the opposite. And he's there clapping for Putin. And I mean, just the insanity of it all. It's just, and then, this trip to England, they did all of that pomp and circumstance because they knew that that's what he loves, right? So they say, okay, we'll give him the carrot, we'll treat him, we'll make him feel like a good little boy, Donnie. We're going to give you the carriage ride, we're going to do the meeting of the guards, we're going to do all the things. And to think that he would switch over and behave like a good ally should, and it's not going to work. Because he's beholden to Putin, period. Point blank and the period.
Yeah, he is.
Compromised. Noemi? You're muted.
Where do I start? No. And let me give you some context. During the first Trump administration, I was a hard progressive.
Mm-hmm.
In part because that space allowed me to rage against the machine machine being the Trump administration. When we were back in office, i.e. Biden won,
Mm-hmm.
there was a personal difference that happened to me. I wasn't sure whether the Progressive Party went further left or I went center. And so since then, again, and this was during the Biden administration, I began to privately identify as a moderate progressive. Take that to whatever that means.
Uh-huh.
It is also the reason why I could understand that the party lost votes to the Trump administration.
Right.
With that said, and I share that as context, I really didn't know much about Charlie Kirk. Even less about Turning Point USA. I've made the point to research for myself to understand why in the world did he have so much of a following.
Right.
A key point of perspective for us, his movement, which is youth-based,
Yes.
okay, helped the Trump/MAGA
Mm-hmm.
team
Ascend.
achieve 10 points from the youth vote
Yes.
of the Democrats.
Yes.
That says a lot.
Says a lot.
It says a lot about his reach, right? And his level of influence.
Yes.
I also did know he was a community college dropout or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I venture to guess he might have an influence, Tanya, to the point about universities and what are they good for. I sense that for the length of time that Turning Point has been around, and they have over like 2,000 chapters nationwide or something like that. I didn't know. I had no clue. That his movement has had a key role in the anti-DEI movement and in the targeting of universities here and now. Okay. With that said, I will remind people espoused Confederate soldiers and built monuments for them that still exist to this day. Right? Don't lose focus.
Don't lose focus.
That is not the machine that we need to rage against, right?
It is
Just
not.
Whatever monuments, whatever, and in fact, in the state of Oklahoma, I believe there's a state legislative bill that was introduced that is basically mandating the raising of a Charlie Kirk statue or monument in every campus. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oppose or support according to your opinions and beliefs. But again, don't lose focus.
Don't lose focus.
Okay. Having said all of that, I have listened to several videos of his to understand, okay, where are these pieces, right, that raise red flags, versus all the good that people say he espoused and represented. He actually has a legion of fans around the country that love him and his message.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Yeah, let them do that.
Yep.
and be okay and just walk away and don't engage. Don't be triggered.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
let it happen.
I want to show you guys something. It's the perfect timing. It's a don't be triggered by the and be distracted by the Charlie Kirk situation. Hold on, let me find it. Let me share my screen, and it is. This is crazy. I think this is the one. Nope. Well, this is
Pastor. And the irony is, even his quotes,
here.
in or out of context, were rarely uplifting or kind. Yet now, his supporters are turning coffee shops into battlegrounds just to honor him. It's not just over the top, it's disturbing. And honestly, it leaves a lot of people at a loss for words.
Okay. Let me.
What's happening at Starbucks right now is honestly wild. Supporters of Charlie Kirk have started this strange ritual where they order what they're calling Charlie's drink, just a mint tea with 2 honeys. But the part that's blowing up online isn't the drink itself, it's what comes next. These customers are placing their orders under his full name, expecting baristas to call it out exactly. And if the barista only says Charlie instead of Charlie Kirk, supporters are storming up to the counter, yelling at staff, and in some cases even doxing them, trying to get workers fired for not announcing the full name. There are now videos circulating everywhere of baristas being screamed at over something as small as reading a cup order. It's escalated to the point where a simple tea order has turned into harassment. What we're watching is a new level of obsession, almost a deification of a podcaster. And the irony is, even his quotes, in or out of context, were rarely uplifting or kind. Yet now, his supporters are turning coffee shops into battlegrounds just to honor him. It's not.
So here's the thing. Let me comment on that.
Is
This is
that
this
is
isn't
that
the
not
first time,
bizarre?
this isn't the first time we've had
One
sycophants.
second, hon. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Let me. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And if the barista only says Charlie instead of Charlie Kirk, supporters are storming up to the counter.
Get it to stop. There it is. I'm sorry. You can tell this is live, y'all.
Oh, good. I'm gonna give you a StreamYard tutorial, girl. We're gonna play some games. But listen, this isn't the first time that our country has dealt with sycophants and
No.
quote followers. Okay. If they want to Jim Jones themselves over a college dropout, a junior college dropout, let them. Like she said, stay focused. If they want to tattoo him on their neck, let them.
Hmm.
They want to go all out and over and above and put statues up on every campus, let them, because the state legislators that are proposing that have the very lowest educational scores in the nation. So they would rather have educational institutions put up a statue of an uneducated individual who said education is a scam
Yes.
rather than pour some of that money into the elementary schools and junior high schools and high schools in their own state, in
Yeah.
which they also suffer. I am the LA County Commissioner of Alcohol and Other Drugs, so I study their numbers. They have some very high numbers of overdoses. Why don't you pour some of that into your awareness? They don't care. So here's my thing. If they don't care, why should we? We have to stay focused on things that will eventually benefit us instead of the over here, the distractions that they keep putting in place to try to get Black people active. Because as you see, every time they throw something out and we don't react, they do something even crazier. Get your
Mhm.
statues, do all the things. Just leave us alone.
Yes. Leave us alone. Daniel.
I mean, I just think that it's like she said, it's showing people's true colors, and the fact that a person feels like one education is a scam when if our doctors, if our pilots, if all of those individuals that have those high performing careers did not go to school, we would be in a lot of trouble in regards to
Yes.
them operating and working on us. We can't continue to allow somebody like Charlie Kirk, who and a lot of times was more divisive, and that's how he, rage baited. That's how he
Mm-hmm.
got his crowds out. That's how
Mm-hmm.
people came out, because they wanted to be able to see if they could shut him down, if they could contest
Mm-hmm.
what he was saying, and go from there. So you had people who didn't even support him still attending and aiding to the large crowds that he was having, because they wanted to go against everything that he was saying, which in
Mm-hmm.
turn, allowed for him to have those large crowds and people coming
Mm-hmm.
out. But we're in a
And
state now to where you're at Starbucks and somebody is throwing a drink down because they didn't say his entire name, when I don't think they've ever said my entire name at Starbucks, and I've been going there for a while. I don't. I just don't get it. I don't get how we've gotten to this point now to where people are letting someone who doesn't even have the credentials to tell them the things that they're telling them be
mm-hmm.
their martyr.
There was a lady on being interviewed yesterday, I saw, and she said something about, well, Charlie didn't have a degree, and look at how successful he became, and blah 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 blah. And it's the whole dumbing down of America. It's just absolutely, absolutely insane.
Let me weigh in on this one. Um, and this is just co-signing on everything everyone has stated here in terms of brand and how we are seen
Mhm.
around the world.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I think we are seeing like a big WWE TV show right now,
Well,
right?
and they're gonna do a WWE on the
On
White
the
House.
White House lawn, right?
Mhm.
It basically, like, I believe the new term is nihilism, right? So that we have become a culture on either side of the party or spectrum that you fall in, where raging against the machine, rage baiting and responding, and the social media wars are part of what U.S. culture has become.
Yes.
And so part of saying, hey, everyone, stay focused, don't play the game, right, is also to sort of pull everyone back, pull ourselves back from to focus on real work, right?
Mhm.
Um, Again, it's not to downplay some of the negative things he has said,
Mhm.
or he did say. And each one of you might have something that might have irritated you the most out of everything he stated.
Mhm.
I think for me, the more incendiary and quite frankly dangerous statement he made was when he stated that the United States was experiencing um, I think it was like a white erasure
Yes. Yeah.
theory or something
Yes.
to that effect. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That goes back to early day America, right? Where the military was sent out, right?
Mhm.
To push back tribes and to basically, protect um, its white settlers. That whole conversation about settling, right? And whose land is this and all of that, it's re-earthing all of
Mhm.
that. And that is something that affects everybody that doesn't fall within that particular demographic. And again, it's not to debate which of the many things he said was worse, just sharing what was to me the most flagrant thing out of
Mhm.
everything he has said. And yet, and this is part of the bigger concern for me as well. He is seen by Christendom,
Oh boy.
conservative Christendom, right? I don't want to use the word prophet, right? But he's
No,
been
and I
given
hate
that
even
level of
using the
status.
word Christian in it.
But then you wonder why people are leaving the church.
It,
Whew, that's a
it
whole nother
Then
topic.
you, but then we wonder why people are leaving the church.
yeah.
And there are black people in that audience too. We wonder why people are leaving the church.
So our nation is in a process of deconstruction on a lot of different levels, right? And so, I want to believe that there's more of us,
Mhm.
and I'm not saying fight, right? Or
Mhm.
don't fight, rather. I am saying fight, but we have to fight intelligently, right? We have to
Mhm.
not get sucked into the whole rage baiting. Um, I have to remind myself not to do that on a regular basis, right?
Yeah.
And sort of pull in and say, okay, all right, party, even within our own ranks, what are we doing or not doing wrong, right?
Mhm.
What are we still doing to lose supporters? Um, but that whole MAGA movement, everyone,
Mhm.
is full of Charlie Kirks. So
Mhm.
yes, he has passed away, and awfully so, right?
Yes.
But there's still a whole slew of them. Are we going to fight each one?
No.
No, we can't. And we don't have the time or the energy to be doing that because what if you notice every time he's doing one thing, something else is going on the other side, and you just it's just too much. It is too much. And one thing that Renee said, I'm gonna put her thing back up here. She says, Noemi, like you, I did not pay attention to Kirk. I didn't either. What I believe is that they're running scared because they now have a big hole in their 2025 plan. Who would replace him? His wife can't even if she wants. I mean, she come on. I don't know who. Vance looks like he wants to replace him. If you ask me, I thought that was the weirdest thing.
Now, I have to jump in here. Okay. No,
That's
hear me out. No, no,
Yeah.
no. And this is where we get into that deep dive. This is where we get into that deep dive PR marketing discussion. Hear me out.
Uh-huh.
PR is one of my professions, right?
Right.
I really should have been paying attention to this movement and
Mhm.
their influencers a lot longer. I did not know that some of them have had platforms for 8 or more years,
Mhm.
that
Me
they've been building their following for this whole period of time,
Yeah.
that they have a whole news networks, right? That
Yeah.
they influence policy to that degree. Shame on me. Okay? Shame
Shame on
on
all
me.
of us. Or maybe you
Hello.
guys knew.
So
Maybe
we were blind to it, right? And so now I am professionally studying them to understand who they are, what their platforms are, what their reach is,
mm-hmm.
and understand the influence they have. And with that, hear me out. You're going to laugh, Tanya, but seriously, when you're talking about PR and marketing, if these are the influencers that our nation has that is influencing policy, are they accessible? Are
Mm.
they reachable to have logical discussions on, to have empathetic discussions on? Okay. Um, what I have seen most of recently, right, is many of these influencers actually turn and voice dissent with the Trump administration on the Epstein files, on Gaza, on a number of issues, and that included Charlie Kirk. Okay. So at the end of the day, we are experiencing a situation where a whole new different set of people have been given prominence. Those are them. So again, rest in
I mean,
peace to Charlie, but we still have the rest of them.
yeah, and I mean, you have to think of it. They've made MAGA a movement rather than a campaign. And we as Democrats and on that side, they have to do that. We've been running campaigns and not movements, and that's where we've kind of lost that stronghold. Because when I think of MAGA, I think of it the same as like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A told you who they were. Chick-fil-A said this is what we stand for. We're not changing. If you don't want to eat here, don't eat here. And MAGA has done the same thing. They've said this is what we stand for. It's us versus them. They claim that it's the elites versus the lower tier, but it's always been a more of a movement of trying to corral those people and get them to come together. Whereas we as Democrats, we've been running a campaign stronger together
Right.
and
Right.
those things. And we've got to create our movement, and we have to build spaces where people feel that same energy. I mean, think back to the days of Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
We felt that energy. Soon
Mm-hmm.
as he gave those first speeches and said everything that he delivered, you couldn't tell. I told everybody then, ain't nobody beating him because he had created that movement that we finally needed. And for some reason, we've gotten away from the movement, and we are just running campaigns of putting this person up or putting this is the person that's next versus actually creating a movement that will contain us. Because now all JD Vance got to do when he runs is continue the MAGA movement. We know he's going to run, but now all he's got to do is say, I'm still a part of this and I'm continuing this movement and continue together. What do we as a Democratic Party have that will allow us to continue to push that?
So to continue along this conversation, and again, now that we have this context, It is then no surprise that J.D. Vance was the one who addressed Charlie Kirk's audience on his platform in the next event, the live event. It was J.D. Vance.
Yes.
And in fact, it's become sort of the platform, if you will, of the Trump administration.
Mhm.
You're basically looking at the Trump administration, right? Conflate with that turning point / Charlie Kirk platform
Mhm.
to now drive or combine that influence that Charlie Kirk had, right?
Uh-huh.
With who and what Trump and JD Vance represent. I also say this, and we know that Erica Kirk, his wife, was the one who has ascended to the chairmanship of the organization and the board. But JD Vance would naturally and logically be the next GOP frontrunner to run for president, right? So
Mhm.
him being that person that would give the first address after Charlie Kirk's passing is strategic in scope.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to answer Dwayne's question really quick. I see he said, "Why are folks looking to influencers as far as living life?" Let me be clear. We are not. And if we are, that's a problem. And I'm telling you this because I want you to follow me here. Two things. One, I have teenagers. Okay. So maybe one knew about Charlie Kirk. My 17-year-old had seen some of his videos, was like, "Ooh, but he wow." And then the other one was like, "I don't even know who that is, mom." And I have very active teenagers. Those that are following are looking for influencers. And I have, and I will continue to promote the fact that parents need to be the influencers.
Absolutely.
Whoever is in your house need to be the influencers. And when you are missing influence in your household, you are going to look for it somewhere else.
That's right.
But I
That's
also want to be very clear about something else that people aren't really paying attention to. Charlie Kirk got his infamy by debating college students, okay, young college students. He never debated professors,
No.
historians, or
Mm-mm.
activists.
He
He punches,
couldn't.
he punches down just like Donald Trump. They
Yes.
punch down. So our job is to continue to elevate the knowledge, the power, the opportunities for each other because they don't come for the ones that have the knowledge, the power, the opportunity to make them look bad. He
Mhm.
got it from him. But also, I want you to pay attention to the fact that Candace Owens was with Turning Point.
Mhm.
And why
Was.
isn't she with Turning Point again? There are gaps in this movement, but
Mhm.
you have to pay attention if you are a part of the the movement to alleviate them or take them down, because it's not in shooting people and it's not in the regular back and forth and the argument and the social media activism. It's in really understanding where opportunity arises for us to assert power and opportunity and elevate our movement. But like Noemi said before, what the hell is our movement? We just try to live. I just try to take care of my kids. I just want you to leave me alone. Let me sleep with whoever I want to sleep with, and leave my kids alone, and stop messing with my, our medicines and our
Yeah.
freaking booster shots. Like, just leave me alone. We're not reacting, so they are continuing to attack those that are beneath them. But if you pay attention, you will see they come for those that are less than, that are smaller. They punch
Yeah.
down. They never punch up. And that is something that we are going to have to deal with, because there are other countries that he ain't punching up on, and they're not having it. They are not
Right.
having they are not taking his meetings. They are not um they're not, going along with his mess.
Mhm.
Their organizations, their country is putting out their own media.
Right.
He don't punch up, he only punches down. And if
Yep.
we continue to elevate ourselves and to surround ourselves with strong families, education, support, at the end of the day, we'll be okay. I worry less about us than
Yep.
I do about anything else, because we've always been a resilient people. The brand of the United States is changing, but I think ours is getting stronger. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm at with it.
We are the brand of America.
And they don't like that.
No, look at it. I mean, they pull from our music. They've pulled from our cultural identities and everything that they do. It has come from us as Black people, as African Americans. Everything that they've utilized to push forward or do or steal from came from us culturally. The Black man was the leader of rock and roll, but then they tried to shift it and go from there. There's so many different things that we've started and then they pull from and try to recreate, but they can't because our cultural identity is embedded into all of that. And I think that's what we as Black people need to start realizing. We have to come together. We're so divided within ourselves that's why they don't take us serious. But if we ever come together and get on one page and one accord, we take over.
All right. Yes, that is so true. That is so very true. So very true. Maurice Kemp. I don't know Maurice. Maurice, you're a new person on my streams. Got some interesting concepts that you're putting in the chat.
And no, their indefensible claims don't need rebuttal point by point. We ain't got time for that. Nobody has time to try to defend why Black women are important. Nobody has time to defend why Black women can think or why they deserve the space that they have. Nobody has time to debate why a Black woman is more educated and qualified in a position that she is in. Nobody has to defend why Black women aren't stealing white people's jobs. We're still underpaid, okay, underappreciated,
Yeah.
and the first to get fired. So no, sir, I'm sorry. Nobody has to defend that. We ain't got time for that. We have time to build our communities, make sure our kids know who their influence really is, and don't go looking to people like Charlie Kirk.
Amen. Say that again.
You know what? And Edith, you're bringing up something that I was going to touch on. She says, so how is the Democratic brand getting stronger? What do they need to do specifically to strengthen the brand before the midterms? I tell you one thing that we need to do with all of this hubbub that we made about Project 2025, somebody's, some of your people, independents, Dems, whomever, need to make sure that we've got something written up for what we're going to do to get the hell out of this mess that we're in now. There needs to be an anti-Project 2025 to counter what they've done, because what really has blown my mind is how quickly things unraveled.
Yeah.
I didn't realize democracy was that fragile. I didn't.
But
I-
they
It's flip flopped so many times. That's why it's so fragile as well. Because at one point, the Democrats was the Republican Party, and it's kind of switched and gone verse. We haven't maintained a consistent. But to answer Edith's question, I mean, I think we need to create a clear emotional identity within the Democratic Party. Instead of trying to label ourselves as we're not Trump, we need to establish, like you said, what our plan is going to be, how we're going to do it, and to work from there. Then we got to reclaim patriotism. We have to make that the stronghold of our country, is to be proud of where we are and be proud of the things that we're doing from here. And then we got to simplify the message. We've got too many things staggered around. I mean, I get it. Kamala Harris only had like 120 days or so to run her campaign, but it was not a clear cut message in the things. It was just we're not Trump. And then we got to, and I like to say it when I talk to my leaders, is you got to center the kitchen table. When you center the kitchen table, and what I mean by that is that's where, as families back then, we had our conversations. That's where things came together with your family. You had those discussions. You were able to hear about all the concerns that your kids have, that everybody had within there, because we all sit together collectively at that kitchen table. And the Democratic Party has to recreate that kitchen table, a place for us to come and sit, say what we need to do, and then move forward from there. So that's what we got. I seen Tanya had pulled something up, so I know she about to jump in there on me.
No, it was just that I saw a couple of articles recently that talked about some of the things that you were saying, and the truth of the matter is, we just have to keep doing what we're doing. We have to keep doing what we're doing, because at the end of the day, they're going to have to come to us for support. We have to stop jumping in to try to save people that don't want to be saved. We want more for people than they want for themselves. But even in their ability to allow for the demolishment of the democracy, we are
Mhm.
still thriving.
Yeah.
We're not in the best place, but we definitely ain't in the worst place. And what that means is when we stick together and we show our resilience, we continue to build our families and our communities, they still have to come to us.
Let
They still
me
have to come to us.
let me say this, and I started out with this point of, I started out as a progressive during the Trump administration first time around, then became a moderate during the Biden administration. Um, we have become too comfortable with folks within our party
Mhm.
becoming destructive. Okay. We have influencers within our party who have it's either this or nothing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You're either going to support Gaza or we're going to make sure you do not get any votes.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're
If you
all the
don't,
message crowd.
if you're either going to support this or all right, we've given you our votes. Why should we vote for you now? All right, we're just going to withhold your votes.
Mhm.
That is destructive, right? I
Mhm.
refer to these people as the Amanda Seals of the world. Sorry, Amanda, right? Um, where they have points and valid points, right, about wanting their particular perspectives to be heard, right,
Mhm.
and wanting a seat at the table, but
Mhm.
they're doing so by just being destructive, right, to the collective. And
Mhm.
when you have all those players come into fruition, we have what happened. Okay. We have what happened. There are still people to this day that want to still bring up Kamala's name as the blame and answer for everything. Listen, that day is gone, done, and over with, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, it- so, yes, to centering the table, I think part of that includes a, sort of, sorry to use the term, coming to Jesus discussions, right, with some of our respective teammates,
Uh-huh.
right, about what they are and are not doing within our own ranks. If you're being destructive, if you are basically rallying people to not support the Democratic Party, then
Mhm.
you're just basically being a Republican. Let's call it what it is. And if
Well,
at the end of the day, if that's your goal, then you should not have a seat at this table. You're not with us.
Mhm.
I agree. And for those people out there who say their vote doesn't matter, if
Oh,
your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be doing so
please.
much to try and suppress it. I want
right.
people to always remember that because I know people that didn't go vote and was like, "Oh, it don't matter. He gonna win anyway." But it's like, no, that's why they working so hard to redistrict, to rezone. They know these midterms they're in trouble because they haven't come through on the promises that a lot that they made, and then people are hurting now. And
Mhm.
I guarantee you, I can't wait to see these midterms turn out to when things flip and now he's having to deal with not being able to get things through the way he wants them to.
Oh, Daniel, I know what I was going to say. I read an article recently, and I have these conversations with my Latina friends out. I'm from the Bay Area, East San Jose. We were very almost mixed. It was like black, white, and Asian, right?
Mhm.
My Latino friends, and they're not happy about some of the stuff that's going on. And I read this article, and it said more than half of the people that voted for Trump,
Mhm.
even now in the wake of what is going on, they still wouldn't have voted for Kamala. So I really am tired of people trying to put it on her. I'm tired because they're lying. There are people that would not ever vote for her or any black woman ever. And that is fine, but we need to acknowledge that. I think our problem is that we don't want to acknowledge tough truths. And a tough truth is that not only do they not want a woman, Hillary, they don't want a black woman. And it does not matter if she had 100 days or 1,000 days. They were not going to vote for her. They said it,
Yeah.
and their own communities are hurting, and they don't. We're like, I don't care. We would vote for a third party. We all know means you would vote for him because a third party vote is for him. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to make that very clear. Stop talking about what Kamala should or shouldn't have done. There are some people that would not have ever voted for her, no matter what she did, promised, said, bent over backwards to please, they
Nope.
weren't going to vote for her. We need to be honest about what is going on in this country. We just need to be honest.
We also need to be honest about the role that transgender issues or transgender rights has in creating a division
Yes.
within our party and
Yes.
steering people to vote the other way.
Yes.
Okay. I
Yes.
know we want to be polite,
Yes.
okay, because
Yes.
we are the party of inclusion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But again, that is one of those issues that actually gained momentum during the Biden administration.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna bring her up. Kamala was a great ally, right?
Yes. Yes.
But there is it's become a divisive issue within the party, although people won't not openly admit it. That is actually tied also to the point that Tanya make. There are certain things that certain people just will not openly admit to, right?
Yes.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Having said that, part of the strategy for the Democratic Party has to be you have to listen to your actual voters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Getting back to polling, what do our voters want, right? Okay. If the issue is immigration or sort of to curtail immigration, then guess what? You got to listen. Okay. If the issue is transgender issues, then guess what? It might be, uncomfortable, but you got to listen, right? Um, in terms of the future, I often see stories or attempts to, for example, uplift AOC as a potential front runner for the next Democratic nomination. We're really trying to lose, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tanya already pointed out. Look, putting a woman forth has not been a winning strategy.
Right. Right.
Okay. Okay. The Black woman issue. So what you think putting a Latina woman will make a difference? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the other individuals that have been put forth as ideas has been, for example, Pete Buttigieg. Love him.
Love him.
Okay. Love him. But again,
Yeah.
is putting forth an openly gay man who's phenomenal, by the way. Is that
He
going to be
is
the winning
phenomenal.
strategy? Is
He
that the winning strategy for us, though?
No, but he's a hell of a communicator, and we
Yes,
need
he
to use
is. Yes, he is.
his communication strategies and how he goes toe to toe. And
Understood.
he is on
Understand.
point and on task. But no, he would not be the candidate of choice. No, he
So
would
it's
not.
our Delta sister Greek from Texas, right? Who's someone who can go toe to toe. But again,
Oh yeah, our girl Jasmine. Yeah.
okay, is putting any of these three individuals, right? The winning, the magic ticket for the Democratic Party. No. And so again, it has to, using your term, Daniel, recentering ourselves, but recentering ourselves to what it is that the voters want for the party, right? And
Hmm.
in turn, what the damn winning strategy is for the Democratic Party. And I
Hmm.
know that there are progressive friends of mine out there. They're like, "Oh my God, no! I mean, where have you gone?" That's what I mean in terms of like I had to come to a place in my political ideology where I had to question whether the party had left me and become far more left than I was, or I
Hmm.
was veering more to the right. But again, moderate progressive, right? Um, there isn't too much progress happening if we're going to
No.
continue having to live under the alternate, which is the far right movement that we're experiencing now. Come on now.
Hmm. Yeah.
We've got to
Absolutely.
be the party of tomorrow because they're the party of the past, and that's what they're trying to push us back
Amen. Oh, hello, hello, hello. You said that. I'm gonna steal it. It'll be on a meme tomorrow.
Take it, but that's got to be our slogan going forward. We've got to be the party of tomorrow and remind folks that they're trying to take us back, and we can't move back. There's too much innovation and technology and things that have to continue to push us forward. And until that is known, that should be the Democratic Party's movement. Is we're the party of tomorrow.
We
Who
need
can
Jasmine. We need Jasmine or Kamala to be the Attorney General and
Right.
just move
Yeah.
forward. I don't.
Imagine if we had had Kamala as our attorney general when
Whew.
January 6th went down. We would not be in this place now because she would have prosecuted him. She would have gone forward and she would have followed the law, not the politics. She would have followed the law and not be so anxious to be so perfect. And I got to just do all of this. Even the Merrick Garland's former professor at Harvard was wondering, what are you doing? Do
What are you
something.
doing?
Do something. You got it. And and everybody wants to blame McConnell too, but yeah, he has a lot of blame too. But listen, we were in power. We had the power to do it,
Playing nice.
and we didn't do it.
We're tired of them playing nice. Like, cut
Yeah,
it out, get it done. Forget
right.
playing nice, get it done.
Yeah,
And our brand is weak right now. That's all. That's all
we.
it is.
It's real. It's on a.
It's
It
inconsistent.
ain't leader of the three worlds thing. It's not.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
not. It is not. And
And
so
if I may say this to Tanya, in response to the Latino comment,
Mhm.
the feedback you should take from that the observation of what your colleagues have stated
Mhm.
is that they're actually conservative to a degree
Mhm.
on some of those issues. So again, our failure, right, to
Right.
not acknowledge that there are people who sort of veer a little bit, off center in some shape or form is part of
Mhm.
our mistake.
But here's the thing, Sands. Here's the thing. I'm fiscally conservative. My husband is fiscally conservative. We're fiscally conservative. And I think we need to be able to say that without fear. We are
Yeah.
fiscally conservative, but we are socially progressive.
Correct.
There is nothing on the right that
Mhm.
appeals to that. So our job is to appeal to that because most of us come from families, especially Black families, they were fiscally conservative.
That's
We
true.
were about saving money. We were about investing in home ownership. We were about all the things fiscal conservatism was about, taxes and staying out of my bedroom and
Yeah.
things of that nature. But now this other group is turning conservatism into something else. So I do understand people of color that are really trying to stick to their conservative values. But yeah, this is a cult right now. That ain't nothing that we can rock with.
Agreed.
We've got to get those Rockefeller Republicans back.
Like we have to be clear about who we really are. And I think being afraid to say that, because like Jasmine, I ain't never scared. I'm gonna tell you, we are fiscally conservative in this house. My husband is in tech. We don't play when it comes to money and taxes. But at the same time, we also care about people. We care about how they live. We care about how they progress. We care about the fact that drugs are plaguing our communities. That matters to us.
Yeah.
We care about what happens with our young people. So investing in them is important. You can do both. You can chew gum and walk at the same time.
That's
You can
right.
be independent. And if the Democratic Party was smart, they would appeal to all of that and not just one thing. And they
That is
also
correct.
have to acknowledge not everybody is ready. Not everybody is ready for dealing with LGBTQ issues. That has been a divide in the party. So you need to be able to communicate how we support people without alienating people. We are
Mhm.
not doing a good job in communicating. We are not doing a good job in letting people know that this is a big tent party.
Right. Right.
Just
Right.
communication skills, guys. Get them.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. I'll tell you. I am for people having their rights and everything, but I do feel that on some of the more progressive issues, they move too fast, and then
Say
they had the nerve
Say it.
put some stank on it and say, if you don't go with what we say,
Say it.
you are not fair. You are not
Say it.
Yeah.
embracing me. You are not doing whatever. If you don't use my pronouns, then this, whatever. Listen, you don't have to threaten people to do something that is the antithesis of the English language. Okay, I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? And it's like
Yes.
people don't like that. And so then they'll go against everybody that's in that when that's not really what they mean, but you're bullying me. Just like Trump, you're bullying me, and we got, come on, you got to be smarter than that. You've got to be smarter than that when you communicate something, just like when they communicated. And I know what they meant, but they communicated it wrong. They said, what was it? No police. What was, God, I can't think of the slogan. During Black Lives Matter, there was that one slogan about no police. What
Oh,
was
defund the
that?
police.
What was it? Defund the police. That wasn't really, if you take that literal, as in literal English, like we were taught, it's appalling because, we need to have the police in that sense. But what it means, what we did here in Durham, North Carolina, we have this heart program that, because there's so many mental health challenges and people were poorly policing mental health challenges and things like that, they got another squad that comes in and diffuses all of these types of situations and teaches the police, guys, they're not trained to do all that. It's just it's all these semantics and language and communication that we're getting wrong. We're
Yeah.
getting wrong.
I mean, the irony is if Democrats could prove they were responsible with money, or if Republicans cared about personal rights, either party could dominate the center. But the problem is we're both too busy playing to our extremes, and we're not coming back to that center to
Right.
realize that people are a collective and
That
that we
part.
gotta speak to everybody. We can't just speak to one base and this base and keep that divide going. We have to bring everybody together. So it's one of those things. If everybody could bring it center, we'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to, and we have to stop vilifying one another in what we say. And you know what, those young people that were saying defund the police, and when I tried to explain to some of them how it sounds and why it was not the right slogan, they were like, oh, but see, here's the thing. When you're doing these movements and stuff, y'all, come on, well, that's because this is what we do. But you have to think, because language, words are powerful things. And people, words are things. Words have energy, words have life, they have death too. You've got to be able to communicate it in such a way that it's not going to kill your message, kill your whole vibe or whatever,
Hey, Dwayne, I want to comment to Dwayne real quick because he's killing me. I don't know which way he's going, like left, right, center over here. But he
He's
said
all over the
he's
place.
all over the place. But Dwayne, when you say Kamala is just not that impressive, I would really love for you to comment what wasn't impressive about her. Because let me be very clear about one thing. While we are over here struggling trying to figure out what's going on with these Epstein files, she spent most of her career fighting against trafficking and children being abused in the Bay Area. I'm from the Bay Area. I watched my mom get shot, and I watched Kamala's office prosecute him and keep him behind bars because he was such a danger. And there are so many stories about how the work that she did in the Bay Area not only saved lives, but it allowed for young girls
Yes.
and women that were abused to be taken care of and feel safe again. She ran the police department in California. I have a very close friend that worked for her. So if you just saw her on paper, there's absolutely no way in holy hell you can say that she's not impressive. Her resume was outrageous.
But
So for
that's what I
people to say
mean.
that is absolutely taking away from
That's an example
being
of
what we're
destructiveness.
asked to do, which is be qualified, be educated, and show our ability to be able to do the work, which she did. And then for someone, especially people that look like us, to come back and be like, I don't know, she wasn't qualified. Where? Show me where. Show me
That's
where.
what I mean about people within our ranks becoming basically destructive, right?
Show
We
me where.
had prevailing voices within our ranks that were destructive to Biden, were destructive to Kamala, and the only goal was simply to be destructive.
Yeah.
And I hope they voted. We still don't know if they voted. In fact, many of them disappeared, right? Once we lost the party, they're like, oh well.
And for all we know, they could have been paid actors.
But I'm still wondering
Exactly.
where. Like I'm trying to figure out where.
Yeah, and then it's crazy because they let the
she didn't have a message.
propaganda and the media push that she
Yes,
wasn't
yes.
qualified and those
She
things.
didn't have a message. This is a part of the problem that she didn't have a message. So the person that you voted for, or the person that's in now, did he have a message? Because I'm confused. Because the only message I heard was retribution. The only message I heard was they're eating the cats and dogs. The only
Oh,
message
God.
I heard was who was getting deported. Because the only message I heard was negative, nasty, not
Yes.
unifying. And I'm confused on how she was not impressive. Have you seen a resume?
And the message was very clear.
And
She
let me
laid
say
out the
this.
message, the
No.
plan. I never saw a plan from the other side.
Not
That is
only was it impressive, but everything that she said, which was impressive and true, has come to fruition.
Yep.
So where
Everything
was
she
she
said
not
was
impressive?
going to happen. I've been waiting for her to just come out and do a I told you so.
No,
She
no one has
did.
time
no,
for that.
she didn't have to
That's
do
exactly
that.
what you said
But
before. We need to defend everything word for word. No, we've already said
I have to.
and now we're living in it.
Those deconstructive voices, okay, that actually position themselves under the guise of being progressives, okay, were in part why I became more of a moderate, right? I also add this, if my sources didn't notice this, as PR professionals, there was someone within the party that kept leaking information to the press, okay? So there was a very serious undercurrent that was constantly, downplaying Biden, right? Playing into that. And then when Kamala became the front runner, then Kamala. These were voices within our respective communities, okay? That it was all or nothing, and so again, I go back to say we are part of that deconstructive process that led to what has happened. And I don't mean you and I, but those of us in our community that played those roles. And I don't know if they were just being antagonists for the sake of being antagonists, right? Like those individuals that go to Starbucks and purposely want you to say it or they're throw a fit.
Cut down.
And so what happens when we have various movements within our party who played those parts, right? They were just destructive in general. So stop bringing up Kamala. Stop trying to blame things on Kamala. Bless their whole hearts, right? We've got to let that breathe and just move on from that. But with that said, right, it goes back to not being part of that whole, gladiator performance, that WWE ring. That's what that is. And how we, allowed space for that and who exactly those people were. I still to this day, Tanya, don't know how the whole Latinx thing came to be. It came through the federal government during the Biden administration. And I was like, what? That's a
Then
whole
it's
marketing.
yeah,
But you see what I'm saying? There's something that happened within that during our administration. I'm speaking as a Democrat, right? That veered far more left than we had been previously seen. Okay, and that really started dictating certain cultural norms and PR and marketing and branding us, right? In a certain way. And we ended up losing the whole brand or message of who we are. So we do have to rebuild. But with that, we absolutely have to have those internal conversations. And sometimes it's to say, love you, but your team doing too much. Okay. Hey, love you on the whole, respect on the T. But when we're forcing and having debates on pronouns and this whole piece of what is cisgender is and all of these components, and that becomes normalized, team doing too much. You're turning people off.
That I love that, team doing too much. That is a very polite and succinct way to describe all of that.
Yeah.
it takes us off our main focus, because if we focus on the main thing, everybody's going to be okay,
You know,
because equality is equality, period.
and and the same with the people who decided that they were going to focus on Kamala and just arguing every bit of who she is and who she's not and what her qualifications. Team doing too much. Here, have a seat. Right?
Yep. Have a
You're
seat.
doing too much.
Have a seat.
We need to have those type of conversations. They're destructive to us.
Yeah. Here's Renee with her paragraphs, and we're gonna go after this. Trumpster leaned into his male whiteness. Kamala didn't lead into her female blackness, probably because of possible backlash. She was an amazing candidate. Noemi, it is difficult for us to stop focusing on Kamala when she just put out a book. Oh God, I didn't even want to bring up that book.
Yeah, we have
I
to
don't even want to do that. That's a whole nother show. She even said she wanted Buttigieg. However, he is gay and she is black and she's married to a Jew. So that would have been too much.
Doing too much. Team doing too much.
Okay, guys, listen. We have gone a whole half hour over. And I have enjoyed you all so much. You guys in the chat, y'all were just lit with so many things. I'm trying to get the last few out. But I appreciate you all so much, my blue and white family.
Absolutely.
Always.
I blame the Bay Area because team doing too much. All of that came from the Bay Area. That's what opened the door. Thank you for having us on.
The Giants and the 49ers won today, girl. I take it. I'm doing too much today. Okay, doing too much today.
Oh man.
Team too much. All right. So listen, my daughter told me, she made me this outro. So I'm gonna try it again, Gabby, to make sure it ends right. And we're gonna see if it ends right, or I'm gonna call you team too much. I don't know if you listen.
I got you. I got you.
Anyways, guys, I appreciate you all so much. So much. Daniel, it's been a pleasure meeting you, my brother from Florida.
Always.
Tanya, it's so good to meet you live, have this interaction other than online on social media. I know. And Noemi, always we've seen each other many times and stuff at NABJ and all that good stuff. So my blue and white family, let's wave off good night.
Part two. Part two.
All right.
Are we off?
We're off.
We're off. Okay, good. Okay, I see what she told me. I did what she told me to do. Okay.
Wait, it still says live.
I'm going to share something with you guys. Is it still live?
Oh my God.
I hit end.
Upright corner. It should stop.
I did. I hit end string. See, this is the thing. Okay.